Ryan Day had to feel incredible after waking up this morning. All the hate this man has caught, and some was deserving, but it was totally washed away by winning the national championship game last night, vindicating him in the eyes of some. But the real ones don't forget. Because to me, if the opportunity arises for Ryan Day to go to the NFL or even make a lateral move at the highest levels of college football, and I'm him, I'm out of here. I don't know if any head coach with his amount of wins and consistent success has caught more flack from external and internal fans. The craziest part to me is that even though they won it all last night, if Day loses to Michigan next year for a fifth time in a row, he's going to find himself right back in the same position he was this year, having to thread the needle and win the whole thing again. And it's just not sustainable. I understand that you have to win your fair share of rivalry games. Hell, I grew up in the Iron Bowl rivalry. But there has never been a better time for Ryan Day to say goodnight to Ohio State and move on. Because even today, it still feels like the fit is off, and they don't truly love him for him. David Cohn, I want to ask you where you think this Ohio State team ranks kind of, compared to other national champions of all time, because there's some stuff out there. But, me and my wife like to go watch movies every now and then at the movie theater, and typically I get to pick the movie. But a while ago, she got to pick the movie. We went to see a movie, It Ends With Us, okay, with Blake Lively in it. Wasn't a huge fan. But to me, driving into work today, I almost felt like Ryan Day was kind of like Blake Lively in that movie. Because there's great moments between Ryan Day and Ohio State, just like Blake Lively and the dude she was with on that movie. But the first time something goes wrong, they just push you down the stairs or slap you across the face. If you're Ryan Day, would you think about moving on?
Man, if Ryan Day leaves Ohio the day after winning the national championship, the year after Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan after winning the national championship, that is a level of chaos that I cannot even entertain. But my biggest takeaway is, look, congratulations to him and this entire Buckeyes team, all these seniors who came back for this moment. I don't think they run through the playoffs like they did if they don't lose to Michigan. I think the way this team responded, there's a point right there where you can see it, the way they played before and the way they played after. I mean, the Oregon team that they blew out after losing to Michigan, they lost to that team by 1 point in the regular season. A Penn State team, a really solid Penn State team that made the Final Four, Buckeyes beat them by 7. I think they faced even some better competition in the playoffs that they're blowing out. I think there was an inflection point in that locker room, and for this team to respond the way they did and move through the college football playoff like that, it was very impressive. And then my other thought is just on the inaugural season of the 12-team playoff, we have a champion now that not only didn't win their conference, they didn't even compete in their conference championship, and they lost 2 football games, which that's why I think even the idea that some people are posting that this is the most dominant college football team of all time, that's laughable, but you guys can bring it up and talk about that if you want. But just the idea that the most dominant team in the postseason this year, the right team won, and they lost 2 games in the regular season. They didn't make the conference championship. We're going to see more of that with an expanded playoff, for better or worse. You can say that waters down regular season rivalries, or you can say actually it gives really, really great teams like this one we just saw a chance to still win a national championship. Whatever side you fall on, we're going to see more of it with an expanded playoff like this.
Well, and I think you're exactly right about the Michigan game. There is no fuel like embarrassment, especially to an 18 to 22-year-old. And then you have the flag planting controversy, which wasn't a very good look for Ohio State. It's kind of like when you get broken up with and you start working out more and you look better. You want to flex from here on out. I'm glad you brought up that point, because some people about the dominance of this Ohio State team, I've seen some people on social media talk about, hey, this could be the most dominant team ever. I disagree with that 100%. But Blaine, you put something out on social that Ohio State season, and this is very impressive, regardless of the 2 losses, and really they wouldn't have made a 14 playoff. They sure as hell wouldn't have made the BCS national championship. So here's who Ohio State beat. Number 1, Oregon by 20 points. Number 3, Texas by 14 points. Number 3, Penn State by 7 points. Number 5, Notre Dame by 11 points. Number 5, Indiana by 23 points. And number 7, Tennessee by 25 points. Blaine, where does this Ohio State team rank in your eyes overall in the most dominant teams that we've seen? I mean, 2019 LSU. Yeah. We can go through the Alabama teams that they've had. Hell, even going back to 95 Nebraska, which, you were like 2 years old, so I know you don't.
Yeah, well, the question is look, I don't think you can sit here and say that Ohio State's the most dominant team ever because they have 2 losses. But would you put them in that top 5, and where are they in that top 5? So I think you can come out here and say LSU was probably the most dominant team ever. Then you have some Alabama teams. And then you have that Miami team. I didn't get to watch much of that Miami team or that Nebraska team. Apparently, Nebraska averaged like 300 yards on the ground and beat everybody by 40 points. But even with the 2 losses, no team has beat top five AP teams ever in a season. Mm-hmm. And that Ohio State team did that this year. And from an NFL talent standpoint, they have just as many guys who are probably going to get drafted as other teams we saw in the top 5. So even with the 2 losses, Dave, and I agree with you, I said this during the season, when Ohio State lost to Michigan, not only did the Ryan Day hate came, but the fans... The hate came for the fans. We saw Kirk Herbstreit say it, and we built a monster, and that monster showed in the playoffs. But I do think there is an argument you can have as this Ohio State team being one of the top 5 most dominant teams ever to play in college football.
Well, I think there's some nuance to it that we can separate it and have a good conversation. We want to know, obviously what you think in the chat as well and when the phone lines open up. But I think we can say there's a difference between who had the greatest season ever, right? And we've had teams go undefeated and do that. And who, when they're playing at their best, would be the team that scared you the most or was the most dominant? If this Ohio State team playing at their peak, at their highest efficiency level, when you look at them on offense, defense, and special teams, I could sit there and listen to somebody explain that and say, I don't think that's the craziest take, but trying to frame it as the greatest season ever, that's impossible. Because
I'm passing on both.
Yeah, so where do you
forget team? I mean, forget season, not even the greatest team. I'll go a step further. Forget all these other teams. We're talking about LSU in 2019, 2001 Miami. I don't think they're better than the last Buckeyes team to win a national championship. This team, what couldn't they stop when they played against Michigan? They couldn't stop the run. Michigan ran it down their throat. Ezekiel Elliott went for 248 yards in that national championship against Oregon. He went for over 200 yards, I believe, in the semifinal against Alabama. They would have gotten a heavy dose of that yesterday. I don't even know if they're better than that team 10 years ago, but I do think it's an amazing sport where at Thanksgiving, Ryan Day should just universally be fired.
Oh, dude, everybody wanted it.
In the middle of January, hey, white glove, baby, the savior. It is a fascinating sport. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing to you guys. You guys know Joey Velasquez? I just found this out this morning. Back-to-back national champs. Played for Michigan last year, linebacker. Played for the Buckeyes this year.
That's amazing.
How does that? Switch sides like
that leaves a bad taste. That's got some Benedict Arnold, except Benedict didn't win.
What do you think? You think they would have beaten the Urban Meyer-led team that won the championship?
No, I don't think they would have beaten the Urban Meyer-led team. I don't think they would have beaten the Urban Meyer Florida team that won it. I think this was in a year that I don't think we had an unbelievably elite team like we've seen in the past. Right? We bring up the Alabama teams, we bring up the Georgia team, we bring up the LSU in 2019. I think this year, Ohio State was the best team when they were playing the best, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion was this year a collection of some of the greatest teams we've ever seen. I think they were the best team in a year where we had a lot of really good teams, but not a lot of elite or really any elite teams possibly outside of Ohio State.
What year was the last time Ohio State won the national championship?
14 season. It was 15, though, 2015 in the January championship.
Because they won the inaugural 4 and the inaugural 12, right? Very impressive. All right, let's get to the chat.
All right, chat, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start with a $5 donation from Mr. Let Go. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you in here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new in here. It says, guys, I agree with Coney on this. I don't even think this is the best Ohio State team to win a national championship. But if you stack the rosters, which roster do you like more?
Like the ones that win the most games, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Ohio State's offensive line was better. The team you were referencing overall. I just, again, and what a great problem to have if you're an Ohio State fan. We're debating over which one of your national championship teams were better. You look at the quarterback position, too. I think Will Howard's a good player. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. Obviously, I don't think Riley Leonard's an NFL quarterback. Not that they won't get a cup of coffee or be a backup. I think Will's more likely to be a backup.
Well, Ohio State didn't have an NFL quarterback that year either, correct?
Cardale Jones went to the NFL.
Cardale Jones went to the NFL.
They were on their third.
Will Howard's gone.
Here's how great that quarterback room was. Braxton Miller was the starter preseason, got hurt. J.T. Barrett comes in, balls out. He gets hurt. Cardale Jones is the third-string quarterback. They beat Wisconsin 59-0 in the Big Ten championship game, then beat Alabama, then beat Oregon. Joe Burrow's your fourth-team quarterback. I believe Joe Burrow was there that year, had to transfer out.
I would, and I'm trying to throw strays at Will Howard. Congrats to him, a hell of a season. I would take Cardale Jones over Will Howard. I would still today take Cardale Jones.
But again, I don't want it to be a 2024 bashing.
No, that's not what I want.
I'm just talking about from a roster
I'm just saying other people are the one who brought this up.
Right. I mean, I already got the roster pulled up. You had J.T. Barrett, Cardale Jones at quarterback. You had Ezekiel Elliott at running back. You had Curtis Samuel. Your backup was Rod Smith. Your receivers are Devin Smith, Michael Thomas, Jalen Marshall, and you have Curtis Samuel as the receiver. To defensively, I mean, not a lot of. You have Joey Bosa, Eli Apple. I mean, not a lot of NFL players I can see, at least big names, on that defense from that year.
Joe Burrow got there in 2015, so I'm not sure. He may have been a freshman the next year.
We'll see.
All right, let's go to IMND. What's up? It says, guys, congratulations to Ohio State. Giving them their flowers for sure. But as a Notre Dame fan, where did we bounce back from after this loss?
Well, look, I don't think the momentum has stopped or that Marcus Freeman, it was like a mistake that they were there. We've talked about Marcus Freeman, the way he recruits, the way he's made Notre Dame cool again in a different way. They're getting a different type of athlete than they've had in the past. I think he's got staying power. Now, do I think they're going to go on some incredible run and go to natties every other year? No, but do not be shocked at all, especially in a 12-team playoff, if Marcus Freeman gets Notre Dame back. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Do us a favor. We all know ESPN is trash and most of that other stuff is. So why not hit the subscribe button? Be a cool person.